There's Shadow Hunter, and I've been thinking about what type of book videos I could film for you guys because I love it. And when I first started my YouTube channel, I was reading so quickly and so fast that I was able to film a video, like every 2 to 3 days. And with the books that I'm reading now, it's a little bit hard to do that, and also with my schedule and just life in general and everything, it's hard to read as often, to film reviews as often, and it's kind of hard for me to do all the different fun types of videos, although I want to start doing them for you guys. I know it'll be fun. It'll just take some getting used to. But I'm going to do my first ever TBR ATHON. And I'm going to start doing that next week, hopefully. And it'll go till October 28th. I'm really behind on my Goodreads challenge. I'm 7 books behind schedule. I have read 56 out of 90, and like I said, I've lowered it twice. And my whole plan this year was just to read the books on my TBR that have been on my TBR forever, and books that I bought the past couple years that I haven't read. So I was going to do one big video, but I decided to do 2 separate videos. That way I can go in more depth about these books and share them with you guys. That way it's just easier to edit, because this could be like a 30-minute video and it's going to take forever and not be fun to edit. So let's get started, and let us know how your guys' TBR is going and your reading plans, and if you're having any plans. I also wanted to do a video, which I haven't done, but I'll do it soon, is my fall TBR, which this is going to be part of it, but maybe not necessarily, because the other books that are on my fall TBR are actually in my TBR to be read list, so you'll see them on my monthly book wrap-up. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first book I have to show you guys is The Hunting Eichmann by Neil Bascom. A lot of these books, almost all of them came from Half Price Books. You can't tell, I love half price books. So let me read you what it says. It says, when the Allies stormed Berlin in 1945, Adolf Eichmann, the operational manager of the Final Solution, shed his SS uniform and vanished. Bringing him to justice would require a harrowing 15-year chase stretching from the war-ravaged Europe to the shores of Argentina. Hunting Eichmann follows the Nazi as he escapes 2 American POW camps, hides down in the mountains, slips out of Europe and onto the rat lines, and builds an anonymous life in Buenos Aires. Meanwhile, concentration camp survivor Simon Wiesenthal persistent search for the monster evolves into an international manhunt that involves a bulldog, West German prosecutor, an Argentinian Jew, and his beautiful daughter, and a budding ragtag spy agency called the Mossad. Presented in a pulse-pounding hour-by-hour account, the capture of Eichmann and its efforts by Israeli agents to smuggle him out of Argentina for one of the 20th century's most important trials, being the narrative to a stunning conclusion. Drawing on groundbreaking new information and interviews, recently declassified documents, and meticulous research, Hunting Eichmann is an authoritative, finely nuanced history that offers the intrigue of a detective story and the thrill of great spy fiction. So this book sounds awesome. I'm so excited to read it. I'll have to read it soon. Next, I have Kristallnacht by Martin Gilberter, Prelude to Destruction, another book from Half Price Books. Let me read what it says. It says, on November 7th, 1938, a young Jew arranged by his family's explosion from Germany walked into the German embassy in Paris and fired 5 shots at a junior diplomat. 3 days later, the diplomat was dead, and Germany was in the grips of skillfully orchestrated anti-Jewish violence. In the early hours of November 10th, Nazi stormtroopers and Hitler Youth rampaged through Jewish neighborhoods across Germany, leaving behind them a horrifying trail of terror and destruction. More than 1,000 synagogues and many thousands of Jewish shops were destroyed. While 30,000 Jews were rounded up and sent to concentration camps, this was the moment when deliberately inflamed hatred ignited nationwide destruction. With rare insight and acumen, Martin Gilbert, one of the leading historians of our time, examines Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, and describes how the rest of the world reacted in its wake. His narration of the night and the day of terror is chillingly vivid, conveying its scant and intense thought. More than 50 previous unpublished eyewitnesses' testimonies and graphic newspaper accounts of the events they unfolded. No other attack on Jews during the course of the Second World War is widely reported by contemporary observers. So this book sounds awesome, amazing, and mind-gripping, and I can't wait to read it. Next I have, which this is like number 3 or 4 on my TBR, so I'll probably read it soon, Hell's Angels, So the next book, which is like number 3 or 4 on my Goodreads list, is Hell's Angels, True to the Story of the 303 RD Bomb Group in World War II by J.A. Stout. This one I got from Book Outlet, which I haven't ordered Book Outlet books in a long time. Their shipping used to be cheaper and now it's gone up, and that really upset me because I love Book Outlet. They've got great books, real cheap, great conditions. But this one was a scratch and dent one, so there's a big split down the spine. But it's still a great place to get used books, especially if you don't have access to bookstores in your area, especially with bookstores getting more and more extinct. So let me read you what this book is about. It says, during the great air battles that were fought to destroy Nazi Germany's ability to wage war, one bomb group was especially distinguished. It was called Hell's Angels. At the outbreak of World War II, the United States was in no way prepared to wage war. Although the United States declared war against Germany in December 1941, the country lacked the manpower, the equipment, and the experience, and needed to fight. Even had an invasion for forces barely ready, a successful assault on Nazi-occupied Europe could not happen until Germany's industrial and military might were crippled. Because no invasion could happen without air superiority, the first target was the Luftwaffe, the most powerful and battle-hardened air force in the world. To this end, the United States Army Air Forces joined with Great Britain's already engaged Royal Air Force to launch a strategic air campaign that ultimately brought the Luftwaffe to its knees. One of the standout units of the campaign was legendary 303 bomb group Hell's Angels. This is the 303rd story as told by the men who made it what it was. Taking their name from the B-17 of the same name, they became one of the most distinguished and important air combat units in history. And dramatic, terrible air battles they fought against Germany changed the course of the war. So that book sounds amazing. I'm so excited. Next I have A Jewish Soldier in Hitler's Army, Unlikely Warrior by George Rauch. It says, as a teen in wartime Vienna, George Rauch helped his family hide dozens of Jews behind false walls in their top floor apartment and arranged for their safe transfer out of Nazi-occupied Austria. Nonetheless, in 1943, he was drafted into Hitler's army, soon to be shipped out to fight on the Eastern Front as a radio operator with the German infantry. In spite of his having revealed his own Jewish ancestry, thus begins the incredible journey of a young man thrust into a war that was already lost, fighting for a cause in which he never believed. In this transfixing first-person account, Rauch tells the story of how he stayed alive in the trenches, avoided starvation and exposure during the brutal Russian winter, and survived more than one Soviet labor camp for prisoners of war. Incorporating his own wartime drawings and photographs, as well as extensive excerpts from his amazing letters home, the author describes his harrowing adventures in a powerful detail, confronting with both humor and humility the myriad ethical and spiritual challenges he faced while struggling to endure. This book sounds amazing, and I can't wait to read it. Alright, getting out of breath here. This book is called The Jew Who Defeated Hitler by Peter Mariero. When I saw this book at Half-Price Book, I was like, I must get it. Henry Morgenthau Jr. for How He Won the War. It says, President Franklin D. Roosevelt combined the slogan, the arsenal of democracy, to describe American might. During the grim wars of World War II, the man who financed the arsenal was the Secretary of the Treasury, Henry Morgenthau Jr. This is the first book to focus on the wartime achievements of this unlikely hero, a dyslexic college dropout who turned himself into a forceful and efficient administrator and then exceeded even Roosevelt to his determination to defeat the Nazis. Based on extensive research at the Franklin D. Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum in Hyde Park, New York, author Peter Moyer describes Morgenthau's truly breathtaking accomplishments. He led the greatest financial program the world has ever seen, raising $310 billion or $4.8 trillion in today's dollars to finance the war effort. This was largely done without the help of Wall Street by appealing to the patriotism of the average citizen through the sale of war bonds. In addition, he launched the American aircraft program, championing aid to Britain from 1939 to 1941, before America entered the war. As the only Jew in Roosevelt's cabinet, he initiated and oversaw the War Refuge Board, which succeeded in establishing safe havens for Jews and other victims of Nazi persecution in the midst of the Holocaust. and he was the architect of 1944 Bretton Woods Conference, which produced modern economic pentagon and established the U.S. dollar as the world reserve's currency. So this book also sounds amazing and intriguing. When you think of World War II and the Holocaust, you don't think of actually Jews helping. And it's awesome because in Band of Brothers, Joe is a Jewish person, and because of it, he's very feisty when it comes to killing Germans. Of course, it's very understandable, and it's not funny, but Dick Winters had to tell him, to calm down because he was Liebgott, Joe Liebgott. He was very angry, and he would just keep on firing at Germans, and he had to, take a step back and calm down. So I'm really excited to read this book and to see, even when these people were the ones who are being targeted, they risked their lives to help people, and it's just amazing. Next we have The Devil's Diary, Alfred Rosenberg and the Stolen Secrets of the Third Reich. Hitler's philosopher, a missing diary, a 60-year search. The groundbreaking Second World War narrative, wrapped in riveting detective story, investigates the disappearance of the private diary of Adolf Hitler's top aide and chief philosopher, Alfred Rosenberg, and delivers an eye-opening account of the Nazi rise to power and the genesis of the Holocaust. An influenced figure in Hitler's original inner circle, Rosenberg made his name spreading tonic ideas about the Jews by the dawn of the Third Reich. He had published the best-selling masterwork that was a touchstone of Nazi thinking. Persecutors examined the diary during the Nuremberg War Crimes trial, but after Rosenberg was convicted, sentenced, and executed, it mysteriously vanished. Robert K. Whitman, who, as an FBI agent and then a private consultant, specialized in recovering historic artifacts, first learned of the diary when someone tried to sell it for $1 million. A decade-long hunt followed, during which he discovered how everyone from the Nuremberg prosecutor who smuggled the diary out of Germany to hide the man he finally turned it over had reasons for hiding the truth, revealing Rosenberg's role in the seizures of priceless artwork and brutal occupation of the Soviet Union, controversies with Hitler and rivalries with Göring, Goebbels, and Himmler. The Devil's Diary offers an unprecedented insight into the innermost working of the Nazi regime and the psyche of the man whose vision mediated the final solution. So this book sounds amazing, and I'm so excited to read all these books. I can't believe I had these books for so long and I haven't read them. Okay, so the next books I have to read is The Rare Jewel of Christian Contentment. And I'm excited to read this book. I've been meaning to read it for a while. It's a really quick read, hopefully. It might not be as easy to get through because it's so short, but it says, Jeremiah Burroughs was a graduate of Emmanuel College, Cambridge, and for 4 years the teacher of an English congregation in Rotterdam, to which he had fled from the slaughter and persecution in the 1630s. After his return from exile in 1641, he became a gospel preacher to two of the greatest congregations in England, viz. Stephen in Cripplegate, London. He is worldly reckoned as belonging to the front rank of English Puritan preachers. As such, he played a prominent part of the Westminster Assembly of Divines, but died prematurely before the assembly work was concluded. Burroughs' writings, some published before and others after his death, were numerous, but The Rare Jewel of Christian Contentment is one of the most valuable of them all. Its author was such concern to promote peace among believers of various persuasions, peace and contentment in the hearts of individual believers during what he describes as sad and seeking times. The Rare Jewel concentrates upon this second aim. It is marked by sanity, clarity, and the aptness of its illustration, and the want of appeal to the heart. There is an ark that you may come into, and no man in the world may live such comfortable, cheerful, and contented lives as the saints of God. Burroughs presses his lesson home with all the fever and incongruency of a true, faithful minister of God. This book sounds amazing, and I'm really excited to read it. Next, we have End of Days by Susan E. This is the third and last book in her, what's the name of the series? And the Permanent and the End of Days. I've had this book for like 2.5 years and I haven't read it, and I've reread the first two books twice, and I really want to reread it before I read this one. I might try listening to the audiobook because I want to dumb down my TBR, and rereading books that I've already read is not going, it will still count to books I've read, but I need to read books I haven't read. So here's what it says. Can one girl change the destiny of both heaven and earth? End of Days is the explosive conclusion to Susan E.'s best-selling Perrin and the End of Days trilogy. After a daring escape from the angels, Perrin and Rafe are on the run. They're both desperate to find a doctor who can preserve the twisted changes inflicted by angels on Rafe and Perrin's sister. As they set off in search of answers, a starting revelation about Rafe's past and Leech's dark forces that threaten them all. When the angels release an apocalyptic nightmare onto humans, both sides are set on a path toward war. An unlikely alliance form and strategy shift. Who will emerge victorious, forced to pick sides in the fight for control of the earthly realm? Rafe and Perrin must choose their own kind or each other. Next book I've had this book for probably 3 or 4 years is Monument 14 Sky on Fire by Emmy Laybourne. This is a series and I didn't realize that, so I guess I'll go ahead and read it and see if I can like it. If not, I'll have to go buy the other ones. It says, "We didn't die. Trapped in a superstore by a series of escalating disasters, including a monster, hailstorm, and a terrifying chemical weapon spill, brothers Dean and Alex learned how to survive while working together with 12 other kids to build a refuge from the chaos. But soon their fragile peace was destroyed. Now they're left with 2 options: stay safe or try to get to Denver. Knowing that the chemical weapon saturating the air outside will turn him into a bloodthirsty rage monster, Dean decides to stay in the safety of the store with longtime crush Astrid and some younger kids. But their sanctuary has already been breached before. Meanwhile, Alex, determined to find their parents, heads out into the darkness and devastation, and with their leaders Nigel and the rest of the kids in a recently repaired school bus. But if they can get to Denver International Airport, they might be evacuated to safety, but the outside world is even worse than they expected." So it's a trilogy. Next we have While We Run by Karen Healy, author of When We Wake. I got this book in a box that I tried out and it was great. However, when I got it, I thought it was on sale and it wasn't. It was called the Fiction Horror Club. Every month you could get like fiction, historical fiction, comedy. It comes with 2 books and a DVD, and it's only like $15, so it's a great deal and it's free shipping. And this was one of the books that says, "I thought the future was going to be so much better than this. It's 2128 and the future is at stake. Adabi Talbad thought he was moving to Australia for a music scholarship, but after meeting the beautiful and brazen Tegan O'Grady, his world was turned upside down. Tegan's no ordinary girl. She died in 2027, only to be frozen and brought back to life in Adab's time. 100 years later, as part of the government's cryonic experiment. At first, this is all about Tegan's adjustment to her new life, and things were normal, or as normal as they could be. But the government has other ideas, especially because Tegan and Adab just spilled their secret behind Australia's cryonics project to the world. On the run, the two have no idea whom they can trust, and when they uncover startling details about the project, they realize that thousands of lives may be in their hands. This book sounds amazing. I'm so excited to read it. I need to read this like now. Next we have is Witness to Nuremberg by Richard W. Sonnenfeld, Many Lives of the Man Who Translated at the Nazi War Trials. This is one of my favorite parts of the war history. That looks like a soldier from Hacksaw Ridge. And I'm really interested to know more about the Nuremberg trials. I watched a documentary about them. I've read about different parts and books and everything, but I want to know more about it. It says Richard Sonnenfeld had at least 3 lives prior to the Nuremberg trials of high-ranking Nazis. A childhood in Germany, escaped to England in 1938 when he was wrongly interned as a German enemy alien and shipped to Australia. Arrival in the U.S. at age 17, where he joined the army and fought in the Battle of the Bulge and participation in the liberation of Dachau concentration camp. A defining moment came when at age 22 he was appointed chief interpreter at the American prosecution of Nazi war criminals at Nuremberg. His pre-trial time spent with Hermann Goebbels reveals much about not only Göring himself, but Hitler, Goebbels, and Himmler. Sonnenfeld was the only American who talked with all the defendants. Several more lives followed post-war. An engineer and a principal developer of color TV and computer technology, and a key player in NASA's preparation for the first moonshot. Here's both an extraordinary life and a rare look at some of the most notorious war criminals in history. This book sounds amazing. I can't wait to read it. Next, which I've been wanting to read this book for about 2 years now, by John Eldredge, Wallet at Heart, Describing the Secret of a Man's Soul. This is just a short little book. It says, every man was once a boy, and every little boy has dreams, big dreams. Dreams of being the hero, of beating the bad guys and doing daring feats, and rescuing the damsel in distress. Every girl has dreams too, of being rescued by her prince and swept into a great adventure, knowing that she is the beauty. But what happens to those dreams when we grow up? Walk into most churches, have a look around and ask yourself, what is a Christian man? Without listening to what is said, look at what you find here. Most Christian men are bored. John Eldredge revives and updates his best-selling We Know Christian classic Wallet at Heart, and invites men to discover their masculine heart defined in the image of the passionate God, and he invites women to discover the secret of a man's soul and to light the strength and wildness men were created to offer. So this book sounds really interesting. I can't wait to read it. And the last book I'm doing for this video, like I said, I'm going to do 2 different videos. I'm really glad I decided to split it up because this is already taking me so long. And I got this in Crate about a year ago. The Daughter of a Pirate King by Trisha Linseller. It says, there will be plenty of time for me to beat him soundly once I've gotten what I came for. Sent on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove, 17-year-old pirate captain Asolo deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. More than a match for the ruthless pirate crew, Alosa has only one thing standing between her and the map, her captor. The unexpectedly clever and unfairly attractive first mate Raiden, but not to worry, for Alosa has a few tricks up her sleeve, and no lone pirate can stop the Daughter of a Pirate King. So this book sounds really interesting. I've had it for a while. It's like a young adult, so I'm interested to read and see if I like it. I hope you guys like this video. Please share down below all the books and plans for your TBR, or even post videos up about it, and you guys can tag me in them. I hope you guys like this video. Please be sure to like it, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. Goodbye!